What up, dudes? Welcome everybody in. It's February 9th, man. How about that? Calendar moving along. We're going to continue here on C-Ball Get Ball to me and Brent Rollins are going to go through the teams that were kind of close or in playoff contention and can they break through? And the team we got tonight, we've already talked about Notre Dame. We're going to talk with Morgan Scalley. We're going to show you a little teaser about him. We'll go through numbers. We'll talk about Mike MacDonald too, because he was his story is absolutely unbelievable. And obviously it has ties to college football. And then who won the weekend, like we always do on Monday nights. But first, first of all, what held Utah back from getting to the college football playoff, to being that next team that could be in there from the Big 12 or that was playing, Texas Tech? What held them back was the passing game, the explosive nature of the passing game. And Morgan Scalley is their new coach. And like I said, we're going to give you a little tease tonight about, some of the conversation we have. Tomorrow we'll play the conversation. But he's a dude now. Like, he's a dude. He's got some energy. And I think that the thing that held them back was very, very clear to me, how they went to the transfer portal. Like, the deep passing game was non-existent for Utah. They ran the rock. They punched you in the mouth, and they made no bones about it. We talked about their left tackle and their right tackle in the preseason, best 1-2 punch in all of college football. Like, those two guys are both going to be first-round draft picks in the National Football League. So there was no bones about what Utah was. They were pound you. Dampier came over. New OC came over. Like, everything pointed to like ground and pound, smash. But they could not throw the football down the field and make plays in the passing game when they need it. So how do you fix that? You immediately go get weapons. I'm going to argue this is the best Utah receiving group that they've had in a long, long time. How did they do it? They went to Utah State. They got Braden Pagan, almost 1,000-yard wide receiver, some explosiveness. He's probably going to be the top guy out wide. They got Kyrie Scholes from San Jose State, who had almost 800 yards receiving. So two guys that had more than anybody that they had returning on their roster or anybody that they got last year, that did anything last year. And then they got Ricky Johnson, wide receiver, redshirt freshman from Mississippi State. To me, it's really, really cool. How do you go out and get talent? Like, are you getting, we talked about Notre Dame. Are you going to Ohio State and getting these high-level guys that the upside is through the roof? Former five-star guys didn't get a chance to play. It's not what Utah did. Like, they used their coaching resources. Kevin McGivern, he's their new OC from Utah State in his background. Not a surprise. They got Utah State's #1 wide receiver. How about Chad Bumpus, Mississippi State wide receiver, who now comes over to be the wide receiver coach at Utah? Not a surprise. They got the speedy guy, Ricky Johnson from Mississippi State, to reunite. Like, ties with San Jose State on the roster. Not surprised they got San Jose State, one of their really good wide receivers, Scholes. So they used their coaching resources, the guys that they had coached, recruited, or had, reliable recommendations with. Like, that's how the coaching portal works now, man. Like, who do I know? What am I seeking for? Players with skill that had great skill sets from other places with less resources. And that's what you see, man, with Pagan. That's what you see with Scholes. And then that's what you see, kind of a guy with a special relationship, Ricky Johnson with Chad Bumpus, their wide receiver coach. So Utah, that's the good news. The good news, I think, they addressed their speed. They got their coach. Now, they're also returning Wayshawn Parker, who was an animal. You watch him tote rock, absolute stud. Devin Dampier at the quarterback spot, stud, can tote the rock. Can the down-the-field passing game get better? Can he improve that? Is he the problem? Another thing to look at with this offense with Utah is Bird Ficklin, like their other QB, who averaged over 8 yards a carry, rushed for over 500. He was dangerous, man. Like, this is an offense that was the number 2 rushing offense in the nation a year ago. So, like, they knew how to run it. They knew how to be physical. So I gave you the positive. And the problem is, I got to give you the other side of this coin to give you the full scope of Utah. And here's the problem. They lose all 5 offensive linemen up front, including the 2 guys that I told you about that are going to get drafted really high in the NFL. Left tackle, right tackle. And their coach leaves. And so All-American John Henry Daly on one side, he goes to Michigan. All Big 12 corner, Smith Snowden, He goes to Michigan. Up-and-coming stud offensive playmaker who you saw, J.J. Buchanan, was their best playmaker on the outside. Just a freshman, but you could see tight end, wide receiver, like playmaker. He gone. He went to Michigan. Jonah Le'Avea, the big defensive tackle. Brent Rollins, you got to be impressed with that, by the way. I did write it out phonetically, but
you nailed that.
Snailed it.
Good job by you.
The big fella on the inside, gone. So Brent, like obviously we're going to look at these things and we're going to watch portals, and Brent Rollins from On3, obviously from PFF, he's with us here every week, man, talking ball, breaking it down. So obviously I gave you the good, Brent, but I also gave you the bad, man. A lot of guys that left and went to Michigan with Kyle Whittingham when he took the job. So some give and take, some good, some bad, probably that Utah's not used to having, by the way.
Well, the biggest thing is it's a line of scrimmage game. They were really good on the line of scrimmage, and it's basically gone. And yes, Spencer Fano, Caleb Omo, that were the first-round tackles that you talked about. But think of guard, center, guard for them were 5th and 6th year guys that all played over. That all three of them played over 800 snaps. Like that's so hard to replace. And they went to the portal and they got bodies. That
a lot of guys, a lot.
Like they got some guys, but you just don't know until you see it. And I will say they played so much. They played more 6-man O-line formationally and personnel wise than any team in college football. So
not doing the joke, but like they literally would put 7 on the field.
So they got 2 guys in Olsen, and then the other name that I'm going to butcher, Solatoa is the first name of the other guy.
God bless you.
Those guys played a lot of snaps at least because of how they did formationally. But the key is offensively for me, and I know Wes is I'd sent Wes something earlier, give you a little trivia question from a QB perspective, but Dampier and what this offense looks like, because McGivern at San Jose State always had, for the most part, balanced offense where it wasn't heavy pass, heavy run, things like that. But, the part that you mentioned there, all right, so let's look at this QB comparison. QB-A, little 83 overall PFF grade, and look at the numbers, yardage, total, touchdowns, and interceptions. Basically the same. So I'm going to tell you that A is Devin Dampier from Utah that's returning.
I like
Who
how
do you think B is?
I like how you do total TDs, by the way. Who do I think B is? Let's see.
Top 10 in the Heisman voting.
Definitely not Pavia.
7th. That's returning. He was 7th in the Heisman voting.
Who is it?
That would be Gunnar Stockton. And this was, I was looking when we looked through sort of the numbers and previewing all this.
Numbers. That's why
they
Brent
both
is
had
good at what he does. God, I love
they
that.
both had 24 touchdowns, 5 picks, and 10 rushing touchdowns. Both of them. All the yardage almost equal. But
who's a better passer?
Gunnar had more passing yards. Dampier had more big time throws, more down the field stuff. Average depth of target was 3 yards difference. Like he pushed the ball down the field more. But when you think about returning QBs in college football and you see lists, you're likely going to see Gunnar. You saw one today, Gunnar Stockton up in the top 5 for someone. You don't talk about Devin Dampier. But the part you mentioned with Ficklin, that's the one where it's like, I was shocked that both of them, they kept both of them.
That boy is nuclear. When he comes in the game
Speed.
at Wildcat, like there was no doubt about he was getting it. Speed, the spin move, like he's got some serious, he's got some burner in there. Like he can, you saw him, Wayshawn Parker going one way, him going in the middle, and it was, listen, I think it's built, here's the good news. So let's boil this down and land the plane. The good news for Utah is because of their running quarterback, because of their running quarterbacks, because of their running back, they can absolutely they can get the +1. They can get the advantage in the run game because they've got a dude that you have to respect in every run, in every throw. To me, it's how much better does the down the field speedster plays become, because they didn't have a lot of guys separating. Now,
no.
I don't think they were good at taking shots down the field either. Like I was not impressed with what I saw When they took shots down the field, I thought Dampier was okay. I did not think he was elite by any stretch. But when you got guys that can beat people, it makes it a lot easier for you. So
very unique system. Like their system was
super
very unique. A lot of
now
empty.
listen, their OC's gone too. So he left and he went with Coach Whittingham. So
and Dampier had come with him. Like
correct. So that's another component of this. But if we're talking about Utah taking the necessary steps, to me, too many unknowns to say they're a playoff team. Too many unknowns to pencil them in to what they've been over the years. But I will say, we'll give you a little tease with Morgan Scalley. We're going to play the full conversation tomorrow. But you guys can listen to this dude right here and kind of see. This is the Whittingham replacement. This was the coach in waiting for a reason. So here's Morgan Scalley. Coach Morgan Scalley from the University of Utah. How does that sound, Coach?
Crazy. A lot more normal now than it did maybe a month ago when the whole thing was going down. But kind of a surreal moment. Not often do you get to do that in your profession, and so it's pretty amazing. You and I think graduated the same year.
Yes, sir.
And I remember watching you and at Georgia, and one of my favorite quotes of yours, just listening to you, I think it was after your bowl game, something you said, I'm not going to cry because it's over. I'm going to smile because it happened. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's God. We're old. We're not young, are we, Coach? That was a while ago, but no, I think that was always the dude. We got to enjoy it. So it sounds great. Like, where were you, like, when you figured out that you were going to be the coach, and where were you? And then who was the first call? Who's the first person Morgan called to let him know that I'm the head coach of the University of Utah?
I was at home. And fortunately, I didn't have to make a call because she was in the kitchen. My wife saw me crying, and it was pretty special. I'd been the head coach in waiting for a few years, and extremely loyal to Kyle and every opportunity that he's given me, and cannot wait to see what he does at Michigan. But when I got the call, just elated and excited for the opportunity. And so my family was the first to know for sure. And then in terms of a phone call, I have no idea.
Don't even know.
No, I can't even remember.
What's the first thing, man, that you like? Everybody, like Kyle obviously did his thing for a long time and was very successful, but I know as a coach too, just you sit back and you go, all right, there's things that I would do differently, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, what's the first thing that you want to, what's the first stamp you're going to put on this program to make it a little bit different or to make it yours?
Well, our culture, on the defensive side of the ball, the culture has been, you ask any one of our players, what's your culture? They say RSMB. Relentless, smart, nasty ball hawks. And that's a culture that is going to be team wide. And I believe, I'm a big Tim Kite fan. Everything I do, like culture wise, is, I don't know if you've come across Tim Kite or heard of Tim Kite ever. He worked with Urban Meyer at Ohio State. He has since passed away. His son, Brian Kite, kind of has taken over the business, but culture is such a huge deal, and I think people will talk about it. It's such a catchphrase, but I don't know how many really understand how to implement it. And culture is all about behavior producing results. I can have an A+ scheme, C- behavior, and my results are going to reflect C-. Doesn't matter what my scheme is. If guys can't tackle the right way, they can't play with inside hands, vertical leverage. It's all about behavior. And so you're trying to teach winning behavior. What does that look like on and off the field? So culture was the number one thing for me. And that just different things throughout a program, how you interact with the players, your strength and conditioning program. Everything we do in the weight room, to me, has to be making us better football players, not better weightlifters. And so the way you strength train, the way you condition, to me, are we making our guys better at the behaviors we're asking them to do on game day? So just different things here and there that, but ultimately the toughness, the physicality, the family environment, all that Kyle emphasized is alive and well.
How did you set your sights on who you wanted to hire for your assistant, for your OC, for your DC? How did you do that?
I think I'm a student of the game. I love football. I love watching different schemes, and so every year you whether or not you face an opponent where you're like, that was some good stuff, or you're watching people that you respect, just studying football. Any chance or opportunity I had where people thought, okay, Scalley may be the guy, people had always texted me certain names, right? And so I would keep an Excel spreadsheet of certain people that I respected, people that I had gone against, and then Kevin McGivern was a name that had always popped up.
His new OC from Utah State, again, experience with. I think it's great to get Morgan's perspective. Again, we'll listen to it all tomorrow. We're going to release it, but it's interesting. The most interesting thing about it, honestly, is the way it ended, right? With Kyle Whittingham, and Morgan Scalley was the coach in waiting. So he's the guy that, like, he was tabbed. And when I say that, there's a reason. He was born and raised in Salt Lake City, played there. His dad was a running back at Utah. Like, he had all these ties, but every year people started to come after him because his defenses were so great. And so they made him this coach in waiting. And then Kyle Whittingham has a really bad year. Like last year, they thought that might be his last season. No, not this past year, but the year before that. Had a bad season. Didn't want to go out like that. Has a good season again this year. And then obviously there's a little bit of discretion now. That's not a word, is it? Just something. There's a little bit of indecision from Kyle Whittingham would be the way to put it. And I think it was, I don't know if he knew he was done yet, but I think when you have the coach in waiting, because we had heard about Kyle Whittingham, this being close to his last year, and we heard about it last year and we heard it this year. And I think Utah had to make a decision. And I think Kyle Whittingham kind of felt like it was his time to step aside, and the program was in great hands with Morgan Scalley, who's been there for 15 plus years. Like, this is a Utah guy that makes a ton of sense. You didn't know how long Kyle was going to do it, but just energetic. You can tell ready for this. A guy that's been sitting in the moment waiting for it. So we do this every week too. You're muted, Brent. I see you talking, but I do not hear you.
All right, there we go. What do you want to see from him the most as the guy this season? Because, like, they were third to Big 12 a year ago.
Yeah. Well, and on the fringe, and people said, they should have gotten more love, right? People talked about them. Like, it's going to be interesting, because the thing that disappointed me the most was really their defense and stopping the run. Remember that Kansas State game where they rushed for 6,666 yards in that game? Like, it was very demoralizing. I just think, like, how does OC, DC come together? Obviously, Scalley will have his fingerprints all over the defense, but I think that this is uncharted territory, right? Like, this is a new day, and it was effortless when it was from Urban Meyer to Kyle Whittingham. They had their guy, right? They promoted within house, and they're doing it again. So I think it's going to go well. I think he's made of the right stuff, and I think he loves that place. He'll have some new things to navigate, but I don't think Utah is going to be a playoff team next year. But I think they'll be a really good team. Are
they more likely in the top half of the Big 12 or the bottom half? Like, do you see them in that, hey, I'm in the 8-9 win, maybe things break right way, I'm back to double digits, or is it more I'm fighting to stay 500, bowl eligible type world?
I would say they're more right in the middle. Like, I think when you've got your QB, I think you've got a starting spot at least. When you've got a system that I know you can trust with their defense and a culture. Because here's the thing. They've got a great culture, and everybody who was there understands the culture, but now it's about mixing all the new guys and, incurring all the losses. I think they're snap dab in the middle, probably not what they want, but a step in the new direction that they're going to have to take.
That's tough because you're taking over for a guy who was like one of the most successful coaches, and if not the most successful coach in school's history, and you're somebody who's been there the entirety of your life, basically.
And he just pillaged your roster.
Yeah,
I mean,
and he just took your best players.
He took all your best players. And that's the frustrating part, because Michigan's got the checkbook, and they're like, how much? Oh.
Well, and also he's still coaching is the thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like retired. Hey, Frank Beamer steps down and now everybody moves on, and I'm just kind of off to the side guy. No, he's coaching.
Yep. Yeah. It'll be interesting too to watch him recruiting, because what you always see too with people is people have recruiting ties to different areas. And all those Polynesian kids all the time, going to Utah in that Utah area, that Mormon, just knowing the area. Well, he's comfortable, Kyle Whittingham, with that area. So he's still going to recruit that area, but they're going to Michigan. So that even recruiting battles, not just the roster, there's a lot of familiarity there, and high school coaches and all that stuff, that this ain't the last battle they're going to fight between Michigan and Utah. I can promise you that.
I agree.
All right, let's get to some
They'd already
numbers
stole
never
one
lie.
recruit.
We do this every week. Numbers never lie. Brent works for PFF. You got any subscription deals right now, or is that during the season?
I think the code's still on the thing.
Swanky.
I don't know if the code actually still works. I need to check and see if the code still works.
Attaboy, we're selling it to you, baby. Let's go.
But I do know there's always deals. If you go to pff.com, there's always deals, especially around draft time, because the draft simulator for anyone who's a football nerd, you can do mock drafts for the entire first round. You can do 7-round drafts. You can do your own team, whatever that may be.
Can we say it out loud? If you do a 7-round draft, you have problems.
A mock draft, yes.
If you do a 7-round mock draft, you probably
it's not
need
content.
to seek
It's
help.
just for your own personal enjoyment. Yes, I agree.
You need to seek help. Even though, where would Pierce be in that draft from a year ago, who the Falcons took, and now he's, running.
That's a whole other issue. That was probably, in terms of the weekend, that was one of those.
That was who lost the weekend.
Yes, and has the phrase "character concerns" now been changed forever?
And the character concerns were the off the field with the misses, and guess what got him in trouble? Off the field with the misses. So
yeah, it doesn't look good. I'll say that.
You got some
numbers.
North Dakota
Actually,
State numbers to me.
I don't necessarily have PFF specific numbers, just because this is an interesting topic, because now the North Dakota State, it's Bison, right? And he's
Bison.
It's not just are joining the Mountain West this year. FBS. They are now an FBS program who have won 10 of the last 15 FCS championships. They $12 million to join, $5 million to the NCAA too. They are now in the Mountain West. And I thought about this initially, and then I forgot, because when I saw this initially, I thought they're going to be a college football playoff contender in year one, definitively. I thought, but then I realized, it's there's a rule. The NCAA actually has a rule where you got to wait, and you're not eligible for a bowl or a playoff spot for 2 years, which I think is a very dumb rule.
Stupid rule.
Because it's not like they are at some disadvantage or no,
they are. You're actually right. They are at a disadvantage. They're jumping into a pool that they haven't jumped into with people with deeper pockets, better resources, familiarity. But no, let's punish them. That makes a shoot ton of sense.
But I do think the future nature of this move, they needed to be much like, to me, close to home me with Marshall. When Marshall made the jump to FBS from the 1A from 1AA, they were ready. They had just gone 15-0 and dominated the entirety of 1AA. That was Randy Moss's 1 year in 1AA. He made everybody look like he was playing against JV guys. They were ready to go up. And this is where North Dakota State is. And it's also one where, do you think in the next 5 years we see a Power 4 and Group of 6, however you want to term it, split? Do you think that happens in the near future?
It should. 5 years? Yeah. I think within 5 years. Once we have the chaos that calms down with all of the transfer portal being done down to one now, NIL starting to being hopefully being legislated more and more. Then the power, like, listen, the Big Ten and the SEC that just, can't get it straight, can't get together, can't agree on jack crap, which sucks. Like, hey, let's do a playoff let's expand this, which would be great. No, I want to go to 24. I would like to go to 16. Well, I want to go to 24. Well, I want to go to 16. How about a compromise, you humpies? Like, how about we get somewhere in the middle here? Like, whatever it takes, man. I don't get that. It's a peeing competition between the Big Ten and the SEC, and who's got the bigger, yeah. But I think that in the 5 years, yes, we'll have this settled out. But I don't understand why we haven't made some of the changes. And listen, at some point I don't even think that's the end goal, Brent. I think at some point it might be, where there's so-and-so playing big boy football and there's a finite number, and I don't think it's going to be over 30 something. Like, I just don't think that's going to happen. And then everyone else is going to be in a different pool. Like,
my number was always 48. Like, when I wrote the article a few years back in terms of splitting it, I looked at that number as like just where you could have 6 divisions of 8 teams in each division. Your schedule would be a lot easier to handle in that regard, and you could play.
I would say less. I would say less than that would be ideal.
So just since you brought that up, let's 2 things. One, do you think they could have or would have competed potentially for a playoff spot this year if they're able? Given their history, now granted they lost.
I'm about to say this wasn't their best year.
I mean, they were the number 1 seed, and they just got upset early by Illinois State, but they were undefeated, I think, in the regular season.
But they got upset early, like
yes.
by a 7 seed. I want to say, like,
it was lower than that. I think it was a run by one of the lowest seeds ever.
Illinois State should have won too, by the way. God,
yeah, they should have won that game.
Their kicking game single-handedly screwed them. God, and they played zero coverage late. I shouldn't think they should have done it either. But no, not this year. They probably wouldn't have done it. But
all right, so Mountain West, which the other interesting part of this to me is the Mountain West.
Can you tell us who's in the Mountain West?
I was going to ask you. Can you tell us?
Educate us. Yeah, I got Google.
North Dakota State is now there. UTEP, Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, UNLV, still there, Wyoming, San Jose State, and Northern Illinois. And the interesting part of that, which this is what is frustrating to me, is these other conferences like this, Northern Illinois and then North Dakota State, they are football-only members. So you're meaning that you're saying that you can exist in another conference, but football is kind of this carved out thing. It's like, hey, why couldn't that exist everywhere where football is its own unique entity?
And it probably will, but it's pretty smart, by the way, because that's really smart to be able to find partners to jump in with the most lucrative sport. Like, guess what? What is the killer for budgets? Paying for your basketball team to go across the country in the ACC from Cal to flipping Miami. Like, that's murdering your budget. You're spending so many millions of dollars. No, you're not. Like, you cut all that out. More money for you. Like, it's a brilliant play. It's probably what we'll see more and more. And I think it's smart business. It's very smart business instead of trying to kill your budget on other sports that just makes it harder. It makes it really, really hard because there's so many other sports, and obviously those sports don't generate income. So you get to keep them where you're at, which is awesome.
Did you ever go to a game in the Dome there?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You know what the name of? Can you name the Bison mascot?
Oh, the character of the mascot?
No,
buffalo,
I have no
clue.
The buffalo, which is bison. It's not a buffalo. They'll tell you it's called Corso. Because we went there for college game day, and they named it after Coach. Shut down the whole town. One of the absolute coolest college game days in the history of the world. Like, it was the whole town shut down. We set up right in the middle of town, like right in the middle of the streets, and everything stopped. And I've never been thanked so much. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. Like, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible to go to North Dakota State. Fargo was amazing. It was really, really
well.
Cool.
I mean that I've seen videos of what that place looks like when it's because it's a crazy place, and it'll be great to see it. Maybe like just think if you got a they get a Power 4 team comes to them soon. That'll be fun to watch.
It will be fun.
I'll be dialed in. I'm glad they made this move. I think it was time.
Yeah, good for
And
them.
they were able
Absolutely.
to. There was a
Absolutely.
game this weekend. Did you watch there was an actual football game this weekend? Did you happen to watch it? Because there was a certain team that won a trophy that's really important.
Yeah, the Super Bowl.
Yes.
It's kind of a big one.
Were you like, I was sitting there thinking, hey, Sam, can we throw the ball to the Patriots and let them score just to make this game a little interesting?
Hey, listen, I'm a defensive guy, though. I was kind of impressed. And it's interesting to watch a world where the defenses have caught up with the offenses so much. Like, that is crazy to me that,
Yep.
I mean, I remember the day you couldn't fool quarterbacks. And now, and you know what's interesting? Seattle is the spot that won a Super Bowl, should have won multiple, that single-handedly changed defense for the worst. Like, the Legion of Boom, everybody thought they could sit and cover 3 and beat quarterbacks. And it was the dumbest thing in the history of the world, because when you have a Hall of Fame corner that can shut down people on the outside and Cam Chancellor roam in the middle, like
Hall of Fame
and
free
Earl
safety,
Thomas,
or
like
great free safety, not necessarily
Earl
Hall of Fame,
Thomas,
maybe.
at the free safety, like that doesn't happen. Like, so everybody thought that was the way you play, and now it's completely different, man. Like, Mike MacDonald is the story. Like, this dude, man, and it's so cool if you think about Mike MacDonald. He roomed with my buddy, my trainer, who went with me to Ohio from Georgia, Rex Bradbury. First of all, if you watch Mike MacDonald, he reeks of humility. Like, absolutely reeks of humility, reeks of class. Like, this dude's just different. Look at him in that G right there. Look at that G. That's where he got his start at the University of Georgia. And he ran out of years to GA. Like, he's, by the way, he still looks like he's 12 there too. And he looks like he's 12 now. He was looking for a job. So he was in the finance accounting world. And it was, his career had kind of run its course. Didn't really get anything. And then all of a sudden, he gets an opportunity to have an unpaid internship at 26 years old for the Baltimore Ravens, which is one of the gold standards in coaching / scouting. Like, they do it right. And you think about Mike MacDonald, who is a class stud, humility, all that stuff, a self-proclaimed introvert, not much of a talker, becomes a Ravens assistant, becomes the Michigan, DC when they win the Big 12, becomes the Ravens DC, youngest coach in the NFL in Seattle history. And then he just won a Super Bowl, and it's the third youngest Super Bowl winning head coach at 38. Can you name the other 2 guys, by the way? You should be able to name
one was
very
McVay,
easily.
and the other was Tomlin, I think, right?
Yes, McVay and Tomlin were the other 2.
And Big 10. You said Big 12 earlier, because Big 12's on your mind. I get you.
But the first defensive play caller to win a Super Bowl. I didn't know that. I had no clue that was the case. I've heard a lot about his defense, and he's one of the few, man. He makes multiple defensive calls at one time, kind of like offenses do. And so you have multiple options specifically to kill certain type of personnel groupings. Like, there's always a check for, like, understanding where the quarterback is in the home spot, like under center versus shotgun. Like, he very, very innovative. But man, it's hard not to love his story of how he came up basically on his last chance. Probably didn't see a reason to continue, but gets an opportunity, does it. I love what he said to his team a year ago. He was like, guys, I got to get better with the media. I'm not very good. He was like, I need to do a better job. And he said it to his whole team because he said he wanted accountability. He said, I need to be a better public speaker. So he modeled accountability. And I mean, it just shows you what kind of leader he is. He doesn't speak much, super quiet, but it shows you that all types of leaders can be very effective, man. Like, you don't have to be an offensive leader or an offensive play caller. You don't have to be a certain type of personality, outgoing, this, that, and the other. You don't have to mother blank people. Like, you can be you. And, I think that I love what he said, man. He said, I believe God called me to be a coach, and I listened to him. And I thank him. Like, powerful story, man. Like, we need more Mike MacDonalds. Like, guys that, follow their calling, even when it's not easy. Follow their calling when it's not linear, right? And sometimes when you got to go down to to come back up. Follow your calling when nobody wants you at 26 years old. Follow your calling when you're an assistant trying to make your way up. You know, I just pretty
and then you end up
cool.
On the podium with a fellow high school graduate,
Maria Taylor,
announcing and giving you and you get the trophy from all that. That was actually pretty cool to see that those two, because I think they were at Georgia at the same time as well. So that was same high school, same college, and
they're not
going
anywhere.
No.
They're a young team, and he's got it. And he didn't do this with a bunch of superstars. Like Jackson Smith and Jigba's a superstar. Kenneth Walker turned into a star in the postseason. Like Charbonnet gets hurt.
Witherspoon's a superstar.
And they got him locked up. I think he's a second-year guy at Illinois, right? I think he was in the draft 2 years ago. So they got him for
somewhere around there. Third.
They got him for a while. They just got a lot of young guys and built it together with culture and cool fits.
Well, the point you make about defense, I think, is the most salient point, because think about all these teams in the Final Four of both college and the NFL. They all got after the quarterback for the most part. Like if you can't pressure the quarterback in this world, they will eventually get to you. But like some of the stuff you're talking about, the scheme wise, where they're bringing blitzes in a no huddle situation because they have those checks, they have their plan, all the things with that. They sometimes, and it also just puts the emphasis on coaching, how much coaching matters now in this game. When you see athletes have gotten to the point where there's so much, I think, across the board, very similar. Coaching matters so much in this sport, but at even the highest levels.
Yeah, it's.
Do you get into the commercials at all? Like, is that?
It's
like
fine.
Yay, nay.
I used to really, really love them. I don't get into them as much, but like I can tell that a lot of them were generated or aimed towards us old people, like Backstreet Boys. I Want It That Way. I'm like, yeah, I remember
multiple
that
Backstreet Boys commercials, all the
multiple
Duncan commercials with all the '90s characters.
That was fantastic. That was probably my favorite, especially when Brady came in at the end with Jennifer Aniston. Said,
yeah, how you like them? Whatever she said, I forget what she said in the commercial.
How you like them nuts? That's what she said.
Yes.
Donuts. It was fantastic.
One commercial.
I was walking.
For me,
I was walking on the treadmill, by the way, on an incline at 13 and 3 miles an hour, sweating gravy. So if I'm gonna watch things at night, I have to make my fat self get on the treadmill now. That's my new rule. So
speaking of watch things, the conspiracy theorist in me, very much. I saw the Ring commercial. I'm like, hey, this is awesome. Did you see the Ring commercial?
Yes.
Where now you can find the dogs and they like those. Whatever the function is on the ring, you can find the dogs and it goes.
I thought that was pretty cool. The facial recognition.
That's great. Yeah. But then I think of like Enemy of the State, Jason Bourne movie. Like I think of all these movies where like you're always being watched, which you're always being listened to now anyway. But that kind of, I was like, oh, that's a little interesting.
You can tell with your phones you're always being listened to. How many times have you mentioned something and then all of a sudden, hey, look what pops up in my social media here. But
It would have been nice had the game been more interesting. I will say.
It would have been nice.
That's all I care about in those games.
Hey,
give me an interesting back and forth game.
But tip of the cap to the Patriots being so young. Vrabel's first year, Drake May second year. Drake May did not play his best, and it's proof, man. When you hit somebody early and often, like it speeds them up, and they become very human. And Seattle hit him early and often, and Drake did not play his best ball, but he still had great numbers and he's in the running for league MVP. So that was pretty good. Matthew Stafford won it, which was another good video with his daughters. Fantastic. Yes. If you didn't see them.
I agree.
Breaking the news. All right. Who won the weekend? All right. Brent Rollins. I'll give you first stab. I got an idea because it's in the rundown that it's very similar to the Super Bowl. So
yours is a segue into my winner because it's Sam Darnold. Because you think about what was Sam Darnold, especially early in his career, known for. It was the whole seeing ghost thing because he made that comment. I think it was they somehow mic'd up or something like that. And he said, I'm seeing ghosts. And now he wins the Super Bowl after being one cast off in a way in multiple different places.
Yeah.
He goes and he's a Super Bowl winner in the game where the quarterback opposite him completely and utterly saw ghosts. The irony of that how bad Drake May was and what he didn't see in that game and what he was and wasn't seeing. But Sam, I actually think him and what he did with his feet was the reason it wasn't a like 6-0 game in the third
It
quarter
wasn't a rock fight.
because he made plays with his feet and got the ball out and didn't get sacked, didn't turn the ball over. Now he could have a couple times, but he at least didn't turn the ball over. A lot of strip sacks I thought could have happened, but he
How about the
made guys
first
miss.
USC quarterback to play in a Super Bowl?
I was shocked.
I was
shocked when I heard that.
I was absolutely blown away by that. But I think Darnold's trajectory, being left for dead, Darnold's got strong faith. He's a cool dude, man. He's a very cool, good dude, down-to-earth dude. I love what he said about his parents. Like, my parents continued to believe in me. Like, I know everybody doubted me, but, like, he also, remember, he went to the Jets. Like, that's where you go to die as a quarterback. So, like, his career was not the best place known to man to start. So most people are going to fail in that situation. But good to see him rebound, go to the Vikings. But then they win 14 games, and he stunk it up in the playoffs, and they stunk it up in the playoffs.
Yep.
So that wasn't good. But to go through the whole playoff run and not turn the football over one time,
not a single one.
0 turnovers in a world where the competition is closing in on each other, that's the difference, man. That's why they won a Super Bowl. His experience, his low points, his ability to protect the football, his ability to shrug people off. I mean, listen, the Patriots had him in his sights a lot, and they couldn't get him on the ground. Like, they couldn't get him on the ground. So I am with you. Sam Darnold is a great one. I got two before we get to Wesley. Lindsey Vaughn, like, putting it on the line for America. Like, I got to give her credit. And I know she broke her leg and it wasn't good, but, like, the fact that she tore her ACL a couple days before the Olympics and she's still out there flying down the downhills and putting it on the line for her country, like, tip of the cap, ma'am. Like, thank you so much for your effort. And obviously no one forget that. And then Turning Point USA, the halftime show, loved it. You know why? I love options. Like, I don't care where you stand on the whole thing of who you want to watch, whether it's Bad Bunny or whatever, Bugs Bunny, whoever it is. I don't know what the name of it is, but I think it's Bad Bunny. Not my cup of tea. If you want to watch it, so be it. I just loved having options. I love having something in my household where my kids can watch and I ain't got to worry about it, man. Like, so I was definitely excited about Turning Point USA. Kid Rock was very interesting. The way he started and the way he finished was pretty cool. Wesley, always joining us on the keys, I think. Wesley, who won the weekend for you, homeboy?
Y'all got me?
I got you, brother.
I was going to say Centennial High School, but Brent jumped the gun on me with Maria Taylor and Mike MacDonald, the fellow Knights. Gwinnett County. Gwinnett is great. Congrats to them. I got a late addition that wasn't on the rundown.
Okay. Steve
Spurrier quoted telling reporters he's about to be inducted into the South Carolina Sports Hall of Fame. And he said, somebody's got to tell Dabo there's no rules anymore. So the head ball coach just always bringing haymakers. So anytime Spurrier's got a quote like that, I got to.
Wesley, I've got a great Spurrier story for you. You want it?
Of course.
Jesse Palmer told me this. Jesse said they're doing 2-minute drill at Florida. And he said they're stinking it up. Both guys, him and who he was competing with. And Spurrier's bludgeoning them. Like just calling him X, calling him, how can't you do this? And he goes, shit, just give me the helmet. Give me the helmet. Puts on Palmer's helmet and runs the 2-minute drill. He said he throws the first one, throws a screen, throws the next one, throws another screen, like checks to a run in the 2-minute, and then he threw it, and the safety picks it off, takes off, pick six back the other way. He said he turns and he looks at him and the other QB, and he's like, yeah, slipsies, slipped out of my hand. Like,
I think Spurrier, Palmer told that story on this show, by the way.
Yeah,
but it is a good one. Always worth repeating. And this is a great time of year. We need to like bring some of those old conversations back up and pin them in the off season right now, because, you know, look, Adam Rooks is roasting us in the chat tonight saying, why are we talking about Utah? Look, we're talking about teams that were knocking on the door of the CFP, and maybe we'll get to Auburn next off season. We'll talk about them in that category next year. But this is what we're doing. We're talking about individual teams on Mondays, and then we're breaking down whatever else happened in the sport. So Wednesday, Plan is to have Matt Miller back on to talk more about the upcoming NFL draft, the combine, all that good stuff. So we'll be back on Wednesday. And don't forget, Utah fans, and I think any college football fan,
get to know your guy.
Yes.
Like we're going to talk with every new coach that takes a job. Our goal is to talk to every new coach
We're
that takes a job.
calling our shot. No, I normally don't like when you do this, but I think it's good. Let's call our shot. Let's tell people that's what we're going to do. Every new coach, we're going to
we're going to talk about what makes them tick, man. Like what makes them tick, who was the first call, like really get to know, like you'll get to know Morgan Scalley on a different level than you've ever known him. And I think that's our whole goal for getting all the guys across the country, is just to give you guys an inside track into how they think, how they want to build their team, how they lead, who their influences were, the whole nine.
Yeah. It's just awesome when you get that time and the coach isn't annoyed to give us the time. And I'm fired up about that. So appreciate y'all joining us. Be back Wednesday and be back tomorrow with that full Morgan Scalley convo. Peace out.
Peace.